Welcome to the Investor Fuel Real Estate Investing Show, where I interview the nation's top real estate entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and other amazing entrepreneurs to help educate and inspire you to take your business and your life to the next level. My goal is to add tremendous value to you during every single episode of this show. If you get value, I'd love it if you subscribe on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, and my very favorite, please share this with your community so we can impact even more entrepreneurs. Let's start today's show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Today I'm here with my good friend Ken Corsini. I would consider you a really good friend, but we haven't talked in way too long. I guess I could say that about other people I have on the show, but anyway, I feel like we could talk for hours now. And we're going to be talking about kind of serving the baby boomer, this silver tsunami that's going on. And he's doing some really interesting things that we, when guys like us get together, we could have gone we could do 30 different shows on 30 different topics. But I feel like this is really timely and really cool. We're going to talk about it. So Ken, hey, before we get rocking here, for anybody that doesn't know you, even though you're a rock star, tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Well, Mike, first of all, appreciate you having me on the show and agree 100% that it's been too long, man.
Yeah.
Granted, you know everybody in the industry, but you and I go way back, and it's been too long since we caught up. So I appreciate you having me on. You're like me too. When I do my podcast, the pre-roll always goes longer than the actual podcast because you're catching up.
What happens with a lot of my shows is because you and I have been talking for a half hour before we hit record. A lot of times people are like, man, we should have just hit record a half hour ago. It's like, well, anyway, here we are.
You end up rehashing everything. Well, you know my story for the most part, but for your listeners, I've been in the real estate investing space since 2005, so I was part of the big crash, had to reinvent myself, started doing turnkey, 2008. And I was one of those turnkey providers here in Atlanta where we were doing 100 houses a year, selling to the California investors, did that for a number of years. And then as the market came back, we started flipping houses. As you know, HGTV reached out to us about 2015. Next thing you know, they're putting us on television. Don't ask me why. We did Flip or Flop Atlanta for a couple years, and then we did Rock the Block season 2, and then they gave us another show called Flipping Showdown, and that was over the span of 8 years or so that we did a bunch of TV. All the while, we were taking advantage of the fact that they put us on TV to build our brand, which is Red Barn, and so we flipped a lot of houses. We've got a new construction division. We've got a real estate brokerage, little hard money lending, and now the most recent show called Flipping Showdown really helped us launch a franchise. And so for the last couple years, we've been developing out the franchise model called Red Barn Home Buyers.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's fun, man. You're like me. You get bored too easy. It's fun to scratch a lot of itches though, right?
Yeah. For a long time, people probably ask you this all the time. People would say to me what's new that you're working on? Because they would know that every time I would talk to them, I've got something new going on. Yeah. And honestly, I've consciously for the past couple of years, not done much that's new. I'm just trying to do what I do and go deeper and better. But I promise you, I'm still attracted to every day. I've got plenty of new ideas. I'm I just need to bury that really deep right now.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes for me, I'll scratch that itch rather than start a new business. I'll go buy something. This year I went and bought a trailer park, or just do something I've never done before, Oh, RV, that's interesting. Let's go do that on this. And so these are a lot of little side projects that scratch a lot of itches for me too.
Yeah. So I thought you said you were going to go buy something like a boat or, something like that.
No, last year I did buy a boat. Yeah. So we got the boat now. We have the wake surf boat. So yeah. Yeah. I like to just keep my hands. I like to keep doing things. It's fun.
Yeah. No, you got to keep things interesting for sure. So we're going to talk today about kind of serving this baby boomer population. I mean, I think at a high level, everybody knows there's an aging population. At some point, there's going to be a house there for sale, or they downsize. Whether the person doesn't necessarily need to pass away, they could simplify their life and things like that. And there's a massive population, right? And when we were talking up front, I think everybody knows that. There's a lot of people that market, or certainly with direct mail, market people over a certain age, people that have their house paid off or have a ton of equity, right? Real estate investors already know that.
Yeah.
But you found a way, there's some things you're working on that are an interesting way to build those relationships and not just go after the house, to monetize it in other ways. And so
that's right.
I'm excited to talk about that, but kind of high level, let's just talk about, you've done a lot of different things over the years. I've done a lot of different things over the years. And it's always trying to solve either a problem I have or a problem that I see other people have. And kind of go at it from that angle of being a problem solver. And then a lot of times it's like, okay, how can I make this a business, or how can I fold this into what I'm already doing? So just talk about that mentality of being a problem solver and not just and serving others, I guess, to solve their problems, but not just being a business owner per se.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, as an entrepreneur, I mean, you always take a step back and figure out where are the needs, where are the problems, where can I step in and provide some sort of service or problem solve in some form or fashion that creates an opportunity for me, but also serves the community. And for us, it was about a year and a half ago, we just sort of took a step back and looked at the landscape and say, where's the demographic landscape shift occurring right now? And it's kind of obvious, that you got 72 million baby boomers that are all going to be moving over, especially over the next 10 years. I mean, you're looking at maybe the largest transfer of real estate wealth in the next 10 years because of this aging population. And so for us, we took a hard look at that, and we looked at, okay, even the marketing we're doing for Red Barn home buyers and our ad copy, because a lot of investors are already kind of doing it in their direct mail copy, especially if they're marketing to probate. It's rare that, in a probate marketing context that you're just saying, hey, I saw somebody died, I'd love to buy your house really cheap, right? Nobody, and if you are doing that, then probably adjust course. And so for us, it was already this approach to probate of like, hey, you're in need. You've got this house you got to deal with. Let me come in there and help with the house. But we took it a step further and said, okay, it's not just, that we're going to add that as some extra, bonus features of us buying your house, but let's approach with that strategy and not even necessarily just to probate. Probate's only after they've passed away. Well, there's a lot of this aging population. They're just simply moving because they can't care for their house anymore. And so, in a lot of cases, they're going to assisted living. So our thought was, okay, how do we approach them on their way out of their house into assisted living in a way that serves them and can simply just stand by itself as a business of just serving them, regardless of the real estate. And so we're coming about it from a true context of like, we want to help you. You've got this house full of junk that's got to go somewhere, right? Somehow we got to move the stuff that you want to keep into this assisted living facility. Oh, and some of this stuff's not junk. We probably could sell it and make a little bit of money for you, put it in your pocket. And then the very last thing, after we've come in there and offered these services, then it opens up a very organic conversation with them of, oh, by the way, man, I see this house is here. It needs a lot of work. Do you have a plan for the house? And now we've already built trust because our business isn't predicated on whether we get the real estate or not. It's predicated on, let me just help you with, offer this white glove service to help you transition out of your house. And we discovered, the hunch was that it was going to open a lot of buying opportunities with real estate. The hunch was that. And so for the last year and a half, we built out this model where it was those services of, let's declutter, let's organize, let's get rid of junk, let's do an estate sale for you, and see if we can make money at just that. Just those services, can we make money? And then how often do we actually get a shot at the real estate? And what we learned is we get a shot at about 1 in 4. So 1 in 4 of these offering the service model gives us a shot at the real estate. Oh, and by the way, we can make money on the service side of this business as well. It can actually be a really lucrative standalone business, again, by serving this aging population. And so for us, man, to combine the real estate know-how and the expertise to buy it along with the service was, for us, it was an eye-opener for us.
Yeah, they're definitely, I've known people, and you have too, that are like a lead source for them is estate sales. Either they're going to go find a listing in Craigslist or whatever for estate sales, or they're going to, try to befriend a few estate sale companies to say, well, where are you going next?
Yep.
And then they always use it as an opportunity to say, hey, if somebody's having an estate sale and they're kind of liquidating everything, there's probably a house that's about to be sold too, right? And it's often from an aging, somebody that's in an aging situation. But in my experience, we've had a few family members pass or other people that have passed. There's no relationship with an estate sale company. You're usually just finding either some sort of word of mouth, it's very fragmented, right? So I think it's and then everything you would do that anybody that I know that's done when they've had an estate sale situation, a situation like that, they have to go find every single one of those pieces together. So it's kind of brilliant to have this consultant that's like, I can advise you on this next phase of your life. And there's nobody else doing that. And then you become the trusted advisor. And then sometimes there's some real estate opportunities that come up as well. That's brilliant, man.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a fragmented space right now. You know, there's a company that just does estate sales. There's a junk company. There's a moving company. You know, there's all these companies, and somebody's got to put it all together. Well, why not just offer a white glove service where we do all of it? The headache is off and most times it's the children who live 400 miles away. That's who's bearing the burden of this. And so we're able to get in front of them and say, look, you're 400 miles away, 2 states over. We're going to just take care of all of it for you. And hopefully at the end of the estate sale, I'm going to cut you a check for your stuff. I'm going to take care of your parents, make sure that they're set up, that by the time they move into this assisted living facility, their rooms arranged. I'm literally making them a pot of coffee, and it's their new home. Oh, and by the way, do you have a plan with the house? Do you have a real estate agent? Oh, you don't? Well, maybe I'll just make you an offer and take that off your plate as well.
Yeah.
And it's a real organic conversation to have with them at that point.
So you know what's interesting, like from you and I are both kind of cut our teeth early on in terms of info marketing, coaching products, other things you would sell online, right? And the interesting thing about a lot of folks that sell things online is everybody will resonate with this, even if you have no experience doing this, is a lead magnet. So it's like a lead magnet. You're going to get a free lead magnet. Then we take you to a page that's called a tripwire. It's like a low cost thing for $27 or $7 or $47 or something. And the truth is nobody makes money from those things, but they use it as a way to offset their marketing cost.
Yeah.
That's all it is how do I liquidate my marketing cost as soon as possible so that I can do more marketing? That's and right. I used to tell real estate investors, I mean, I've coached and advised like lots of people over the years. And forever, I was like, do not get your real estate license. Well, it's required in some states now, but I was always like, that's a waste of time. Just like focus on other things. And then I had this epiphany of like, well, you know, especially with inflation and all that's happened over the past few years. A few years ago, I was like, hey, it's a great. There's a lot more investors that have become agents and a lot more agents that have become investors. And I'm like, if nothing else, it's a great way to liquidate your marketing cost because most of the leads that we generate, we can't buy as investors. But if you could get a referral or list it yourself, if it's not too much effort, you're going to get your bait back. From my standpoint, it's getting your marketing dollars back. And that's why I love this model is like, it's another way to monetize the leads you're already generating. It's a way to become the trusted advisor. And so I think, you know, whether it's what we're talking about here for those of you that are listening are other ways to kind of monetize those leads or help people in the process from the leads you've already generated.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like yours would be great as a standalone business. You said it is, but there's also just things that's like, hey, if all you're doing is just getting your bait back, then don't look at that as like a standalone business. Look at it as a way to get more marketing dollars back so you can keep pushing it out because where you really make the money ultimately is in the real estate.
You're 100% right, but I'll do you one better. One of the reasons I love this model is you don't have to have ad spend. You don't have to have marketing spend. You can actually, called sweat equity, you know, you can do the networking to access the people in these positions. So assisted living facilities it's just really low hanging fruit. You become that person to the local sales agent at the assisted living facility who's motivated to bring that person into their facility. So if you can facilitate them moving and selling and getting the money they need to move in, then they'll be your best friend. And so you don't even have to spend money on marketing if you're just out there networking, generating these buying opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. And probably even with the estate sale companies is like, it's one more reason to say, hey, if they work, you know, if you could help me work with this person, I'll make sure they use you as
absolutely
estates, like their piece, right? Like it's so fragmented that all these people with little pieces need the other components as well. They just don't do it.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. And the cool thing is too, you know, what we find is you can do you can do the declutter, you can do the relocation, you can do the estate sale yourself if you want to be good at that, but you can also sub any one of them out. Right. I don't want to be in the junk hauling business, so I got somebody to do that. Maybe I don't want anything to do with estate sales, so I'm going to sub out, like you said, I'll give a piece to another estate sale company, split the profits with them. But maybe I'm okay moving people. I don't mind, you know, renting a U-Haul and hiring some guys and moving them. Wherever you want to capture some of that profit, you can do it or not at all. It's up to you. But again, you're still that one point of contact, you know, for this, what we call white glove service.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. Like at that point in your life, if you've lost a loved one or you're getting older, and you just don't want to deal with it, like those folks they want one person that they can trust to handle it all instead of like
100%.
rounding up like 15 different people or services to do it, with half of which are not even going to show up, you know?
Well, and think, you hate to stereotype, but think of, your local mover. Think of even your local estate sale company. A lot of times it's Billy Bob in the back of his pickup truck putting on the estate sale.
Yeah.
Or the junk removal guys. Like those aren't, you don't want to have to manage three of those guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
from different industries. You want one sophisticated consultant to help you with all of it.
Yeah. That's great. So talk about just like maybe share your thoughts on, for all real estate investors, whether they're doing a model like this or not, just that mentality of solving problems. Because I know, like I've talked about when I first started as a real estate investor, like we had no income. Like we had to make things happen, you know? And early on, all I cared about was me. Like I'm just trying to buy a house. I've
Yeah.
given the story several times. It's like it took me a couple months before I realized like, hey, if I can't serve this person and help them, they're not going to work with me. So unless I can serve them for whatever they need, like I can't win without them winning.
Yeah.
And it was a learning curve for me because I remember I've said this a few times. Like we were, we weren't like living under a bridge, but we were burning through savings quickly when we first started our business. And I remember the first couple houses I went on, I would literally sit in the car and pray, like, please let me buy this house. And then I realized, it just took a while. I'm like, wait, this isn't about me. Like,
Right.
if I can't help that person solve whatever, a lot of times it's all sorts of weird stuff,
It
the
is.
people whatever life happens to people, right? But
That's so,
just talk
you're
about
so,
that mindset of
yeah,
some things that people maybe don't think about, how to serve people at a higher level so that, you can then serve them on another level, which is working with
absolutely.
them in the business.
I mean, it's sales 101, right? Anybody that's gone through John Martinez or Steve Tranger, any of that, it's, you're uncovering the motivating factors, right? So in that in initial conversation, there's a reason they invited you into their house to talk about their house, right? So as you unpack those layers, you're uncovering where are those hurts, where are those needs, where are those fears, those things that are causing them to be motivated. And absolutely, you always address those first. You put on that detective hat and you become their problem solver.
Yeah.
And the house almost becomes secondary to the equation, right? You're scared about cleaning the house out. You don't know where you're going to live for the next 30 days, And so how do we've put people up in hotels. We've definitely cleaned out houses. I mean, we've done all sorts of stuff where you structure an offer in a way that solves every one of those needs before you even worry about buying the house and what you're going to pay for it and how that's going to go. Or you're going to, maybe you're going to structure it where let me let you stay in the house for the next 60 days. I'll buy it. I'll get rid of all the junk. You stay in the house well, yeah, maybe it costs you a few bucks, but at the end of the day, the goal is for that seller to feel like they won in the equation, right? You might have won and bought the house well below market value, but you want that seller to feel like they won as well. Like this was exactly what they needed in order to sell that house. And there's a lot of times where, and you've probably experienced this, Mike, where you serve them in some form or fashion and it doesn't come back to you in that transaction. Maybe you didn't end up buying the house. Doesn't matter. You serve them in some form or fashion. And if you do that on a consistent basis, it will always come back to you in the form of future business, whether it's with them or somebody else or good reputation. Your goal at the beginning of every day should be like, how do I serve the next person I talk to in some form or fashion, whether I buy their house or not?
Yeah, that's great. That was an early lesson for me too, is the truth is, as a real estate investor, we all know that you're buying a very small fraction of the leads you generate. Maybe it's 8, 10%, 15%, maybe, right? But you generally, as a real estate investor, I mean, there's some high volume folks that we all know, but the average investor is not buying a house every day. And it got to the point where I was like, hey, if we're serving other people and we can help people every day, it doesn't always turn into a purchase on that day, but you sleep better at night if you go into every situation knowing I want to try to help this person. And maybe they need a referral for a foundation repair, or maybe they need an estate sale company to help, or maybe they just need a realtor, honestly. And so,
Yeah.
in some instances, I think as an investor, you can go in and you could build those relationships where maybe you get a referral fee or maybe you make some money doing it. But even if you don't, if you could just be a problem solver overall, I mean, I think you would agree with this. I mean, there's very few houses, like my best deals ever were never because I paid the most, right? I mean, those are the ones you lost money on typically.
Yeah.
And so if you're not providing some sort of consultation to become that trusted advisor for whatever that person needs, because it gets to a point to where a lot of the people for our very best deals, it wasn't really about the money. Like they wanted to get as much money as possible, but there were other things that were more important. And those are our very best buys like ever.
For sure. Yeah, sometimes speed is the reason. You got, a couple of inheritees that want the money right now, and they don't have time to fix it and wait for it to sell.
Right.
But to your point earlier, I'm a big proponent of either be licensed or have a spouse or, somebody close to you that is licensed, especially in this market, because there's just too many opportunities to capture commission on these, right? I mean, my wife's been licensed since 2007. I remember being an investor early on. I said, Nita, I'm going to be an investor. I don't want to be licensed, but I want you to be licensed. And so she had no interest at the time, but she did it anyways. And there have been lots of times. She's an active agent now. She didn't used to be, but so many opportunities where we captured commission, that I'd much rather keep that in-house as an investor than to give it away.
Yeah. And these days, honestly, I call it a second chance sweepstakes. So if they need to list it, and if you can get it, I mean, the way that houses have appreciated in most markets, they're not too far off from a typical assignment fee.
Oh, for sure. No, in some cases, it's higher than an assignment fee. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Ken, if folks want to learn more about you, you got Red Barn Homes, like a franchise system. Mm-hmm. And you've got Family Nest, which is just real fast, without this being like a sales pitch. Tell us about the Family Nest idea. That really is the crux of what we talked a lot about here, is like becoming this trusted advisor to help people that are navigating through selling a house of a loved one or family member, or even themselves if they lost a spouse. Like, talk about that at a high level, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so, obviously Red Barn Homes is the parent company. We have a number of Red Barn brands that fall underneath that, including our franchise, which is Red Barn Home Buyers. And again, what we determined was this Family Nest model it's a great standalone model, but for real estate investors, it's a great bolt-on model to your business because it's a great way to access buying opportunities. And it was exactly what we talked about, right? Family Nest is all about, developing those opportunities with seniors, the baby boomers who are transitioning typically into assisted living facilities, and then helping our franchisees, with the marketing for the relocations and the downsizing and the decluttering and the estate sales. And then ultimately we want to help them get a shot at the real estate. They don't always get the real estate. It's a great standalone business. But again, for those that are inclined to, do a handful of deals a year on the real estate side, it's sort of a double whammy. You get the real estate side, and you get, you can grow a legitimate business just serving this aging population.
If folks want to learn more about you or whatever you got going on, where can they go?
Yeah, so a great website that kind of points to a lot of the different things that we're doing is redbarnhomes.com. Simple enough. That'll lead you over to Red Barn Home Buyers, Red Barn Franchise, Family Nest Franchise. I mean, all of those, if you search any of them, you'll find us. But like I said, Red Barn Homes is usually a great way to start.
Well, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, great catching up, Mike. Enjoyed our time.
We gotta talk again soon. We need to hang out. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I want to go on your boat and have you out of my ranch, and we can do it all.
Let's go. Yeah, we'll do some hunting. We'll do some surfing, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, everybody. There's a lot of ways to make money in this business. At the end of the day, I think if you focus on serving other people and finding unique ways to serve them, whether you make money doing that or not, it's going to get you more deals at the end of the day. So hopefully there's some good value in today's show for you. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.